Well, hello and welcome to the Farmington Public Schools Superintendent Spotlight. And for our final June Spotlight, we are so excited to welcome with us Kristen Patton, our wonderful teacher of the Emergency Medical Technician Program, as well as two of her senior students who will be graduating on Sunday, one from Farmington High School, we have Stuti, and then from North Farmington High School, we have Zach. So welcome to the Superintendent Spotlight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We are very excited to learn about this incredibly unique program to Farmington Public Schools, learn about the history of the course, as well as from a student perspective, the experience that you've had. So maybe I can start with Mrs. Patton, with our wonderful teacher. Can you just talk to us about how did we get an emergency medical technician course in our school district, and how long has it been running?
So it kind of goes back to my background. I am a licensed EMT. I've been an EMT for a very long time. And I was injured on the job. So I decided, well, I'm a firm believer in if those who can't do will teach. So I decided to go back to school and get my teaching certification. And there was a position available to teach the health science program here. And during my interview, I was asked what my 5-year plan was. Well, I knew they did not have an EMT program here, and that became my 5-year plan. That became my capstone project for my master's degree as well, is to bring the EMT program to the high school level. It opens up many doors for high school students to get licensure once they turn 18 and graduate, and get their foot in the door to the medical field. So this is our first year running this program, and I say it's pretty successful. We had 25 students start the program last fall, and we had, of the 25, 13 that are eligible to take the state license test. And I have 2 of them here with me now.
Wonderful. Well, that's one of the questions that I always receive when I talk to other superintendents and other districts, and I brag about you that we have this cool emergency medical technician class. I've been in both Farmington and North Farmington High School. I've seen them in action. They actually wear scrubs, and so they're so envious. But one of the questions that I get all the time is, can they get an actual EMT certification, and how is the school certification different from the outside certification, or is it identical? So any of the 3 of you, if you can just talk about it, the certification, what do you come out with?
It is the exact same that you would get if you would take the course in college. It is a college level class. They have to be 16 to take what's called the National Registry Exam. That's the written test. So these 2 took the entire course. They did 3 ambulance rides. They have to do a total of 32 hours on the ambulance, learning on the road, on the job training. And then once they complete all the course requirements, they have to pass their final exam with an 80%. They have to pass their skills test, which there's 9 different skills. They have to pass those with an 80%. Once they've completed all that, then we submit a roster to the state saying that they're eligible for the state license exam. So that's what we're waiting now. They're going to be testing hopefully before August 1st. They will take the state test. Zach is already 18. So once he passes that test, he will be able to apply for his state EMT license. Stuti, when do you turn 18?
February.
So Stuti can take the test. Unfortunately, she has to wait until her 18th birthday to hit that submit button and get her license in February. So it can sit there. It's kind of holding and waiting, but once she turns 18, she'll get that.
That is fantastic. So a legitimate certificate, you can go right into the workforce if you choose. It's a class that you're taking while you're in high school. That's phenomenal. I can tell you that I may date myself, but we had nothing like this when I was in high school. There wasn't even a thought of these kind of courses, of actual, not just college level courses, but skills-based courses, certification-based courses that we could take while we were in high school. They had none of that. So what a unique, innovative idea. So let's talk to the students, and let me start with Stuti from Farmington High School. Why did you take the emergency medical technician class, and what do you think? It's been a year.
My goal is to just go into the medical field. And I have Miss Patton, I had her last year, and I obviously love her as a teacher. And when she told me about this new program, I was really excited because I thought it was a good way to get that experience as a high schooler first, especially if someone wants to be like a doctor, which is like you have to go to med school and you have to get those hours. So getting those clinical hours from this EMT course, I thought that was a really good way of getting that experience. And then maybe like deciding if you still want to pursue that, or if you maybe want to be an EMT finally, because it's a really good profession. I really like it. So that was why I chose the class, and I've had a great experience. We learn a lot, the skills. I'm very interested in hands-on stuff. So when she told me that we'll do skills like bleeding control and trauma, medical, like assessing the patients, I thought this is the class I want to take. So I took it, and I've had a great experience. So I would definitely recommend this class to anyone, even considering medical field, just to see and experience how it really is.
Well, I can tell by the smile on your face and your enthusiasm that you really did like the course a lot. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with your wonderful teacher, Miss Patton. Zach, same question to you. Why'd you choose it? What do you think?
For me, on the other hand, I've always wanted to go into like first responder, like work in the road, stuff like that. So taking med skills last year with Miss Donato at North, it was a really good like learning experience to kind of get to know the medical field. And then when she pushed this class to us, because we never heard of it, because obviously it's coming from Farmington. So it was pushed, I would assume, a lot less than it was at Farmington. But the second I heard it, I was like, man, I need to take this class. Like just being on the road and stuff like that, that's what I want to do. So the ability to learn it in school and not have to do it off school campus, I just thought it was a really great opportunity for me and other students.
That is phenomenal. And, we had the pleasure of recognizing Miss Donato last night at the retirement recognition ceremony before our board meeting. And she and I spoke, and she was so excited that the course has just really blossomed, and so excited for all of you. Interesting. One of the things she mentioned to me last night was that some people think that if you go into this course, if you want to be an emergency medical technician, that you have to be in the ambulance. And she said, that's not true. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think sometimes that's a common misperception. Some people like that stressful ambulance work. Other people maybe not. So what's the story?
So they can work as a police officer. They would have to go for further education for the police officer training. But they'll have a step up for that department. They can go work in emergency rooms. They can work at a doctor's office. They can work at an urgent care. They can go to nursing homes. They can go anywhere with this EMT license. And I just found out yesterday with one of my contacts with Farmington Hills Fire Department that they are hiring as well. So they are looking at our program as a feeder program for having students go to them who are interested in, the firefighting side of it as well. So having the EMT, they have another point of contact. They can enter that field as well. If they think fire's the way to go, then, hey, you've already got your step up. So, and Farmington Hills is going to pay for them. They will pay them while they're working as an EMT. They will also pay them to go for fire academy school.
Wow. Okay.
So there's advantages all over the place having this.
Wonderful. And just so I can clarify, so Zach and Stuti, both of you've been in this class all year this year, correct?
Yes, correct.
So let me ask you both this question. So Stuti, if you think back of this full year of what you've studied, what you've explored, what's maybe one of your favorite lessons or your favorite memories? What really speaks to you or sticks out?
I would definitely say like learning and performing the skills, because not only do we get to just do it like on mannequins and on each other, we also like get to interact with people and get that experience of, we know like there are friends, but like interacting with the patient, like that experience. I think that's really important. And I think that was like a good way to also know people, because EMT is a class, there's people from all different, I wouldn't say grades because it's juniors and seniors, but all different levels. Like there's people from honors and AP level, and there's people who do regular classes, but EMT is like somewhere all of us get together, and we might not know each other in the beginning, but by the end of the year, we all knew each other so well. We were so close together. So definitely like performing skills on each other and interacting that way was my favorite memory.
Okay. How about you, Zach?
So for me, it was a little bit different over at North because there was two of us, but the two of us, we connected like this in terms of working together to be able to just get knowledgeable within the field. For me, it's basic life skills that I feel everyone should know, but just us learning it on a more advanced level, being able to, like, I don't know, if you're in a restaurant and someone says, does anyone need medical help?
Right.
You know how to do it now. So for me, it was just
that
being
is so powerful.
Right. And like learning it in the EMT aspect, it's more like quick response. So it was, for me, it was fun to.
He's what we would call a trauma junkie. He likes the adrenaline. He likes the rush. He likes that excitement part of it.
So that was that's a good segue. That was going to be one of my questions. Is, some people really thrive under pressure and stress, and other people you can't handle it. It's too much for you. So how did you navigate the adrenaline, the emotion of when you went, for example, on the ambulance ride? I don't know if you went on actual calls with them. But what do you think about that aspect of not just the training, but maybe one day being an EMT?
I just think it's a good way of knowing, like, if we suit there, like if we actually like doing all that stuff in like emergency cases. But the clinical rides we did was like a really good way of getting that experience, because we didn't go on like the rescue calls as much. We did like some of the ALS calls, or just basic BLS calls, so basic life support calls. So we got to just do the basic like transports and interacting with patients. Some of them, like I had a really interesting patient. Like my very first patient was like a tachycardia patient. So like really, really high heart rate. And it was stressful, but you get to see how it's like and how the actual paramedics and EMTs are actually handling the situation. So, and it's a good way to decide if you want to do that, because obviously we weren't forced to do that as in the class. Like there have been some students who didn't do the clinical rides, right? So like, for example, if I did one ride and I didn't like it, or like even in between, Miss Patton always gave that confirmation to us that she always said, oh, like if you ever need to talk to me, if you don't like it, if you like something, like come talk to me. Like she was super nice. Like she was like, you can call me at like 2 a.m. I'm going to pick up your call. I'll talk to you. So we had that support. So we never felt stressed about doing them. So it was like a good way to get that experience and decide. So yeah, I would say that's when you can take your time, do those rides, because we did get to attend actual calls. We just never performed direct skills on them. We took their vital signs and stuff like that. But that was a good way to decide if, oh, that suits me well, or like I'm going to be good as an EMT. So,
wow. Yeah. I'm glad you bring up the kind of the social emotional wellness part, because, in fields like first responders, the term that's used is secondary trauma. So you can be traumatized by just seeing somebody in distress and worrying about their lives, even if, they're not a loved one and you're attending to them. And so it can be very stressful. So that's another great aspect. Obviously, kudos to you, Mrs. Patton, for your availability to your students and creating, this type of course. So Zach, you went on ambulance rides as well?
I did. Yeah. So it was funny. So I did 3 rides. Obviously, my first ride was with the ALS truck, which is more like a paramedic type trauma, like driving lights and sirens type, type ambulance. And I did a 9-hour shift. And in that time, I got there at 8 a.m., had one call at 8:30, and didn't do anything the rest of the day. That was it.
Okay.
So that was like my mindset for the next 2, like, oh, I'm going to just go there and sit all day. The next 2, I went on BLS, which is like the basic transport. And I just went call on call on call on call. And I was like, this is more my pace. And for me, it was, you think ambulance, you think like rushing to the hospital, like getting someone there to help save their lives. But the BLS, the basic, is more like helping people like in a slower pace, and honestly, like making them feel comfortable. So like for me, it was having to get the aspect that talk to them, make them feel like, obviously it's stressful. You're in the back of an ambulance. It's a stressful time for you. So make them feel okay. And that's what the rides really helped me with, was not just the medical aspect, the personable aspect towards the patients.
That is such a huge factor. I'll tell a quick story. So I still play men's soccer, and I had a teammate, over Memorial Day, we were in a tournament, and I had a teammate who took an elbow to his temple and actually had a grade 3 concussion. And the EMT was called. He was in and out of consciousness, and the EMT came running across the field, not much older than you. And he was so calm and so composed that he put everybody at ease. And we were very, very worried about our teammate. But his skill and his composure and the way he talked to my teammate, it just instilled that's such a huge part of that role, Zach, is for you to be able to be calm and, and Stuti, for you to be able to know the techniques to do it. And again, I'll go back to, you're learning this in high school, which is phenomenal. It's just outstanding.
And one thing I stress with them from the very beginning is it's not your emergency, it's the patient's emergency. So you have to learn to be calm, and you have to learn all those different techniques. So we do go over that, and I did have one student the night before her clinical, she was freaking out. So I calmed her down, and once she got there and got through it, through the first ride, she was fine. And she ended up completing the course. So it is stressful for them, but like Stuti said, I am there for them. If they need to talk, and I even tell them, when you're on your rides, if something doesn't feel right or is uncomfortable, you call me right away, and we'll get it fixed. So.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell one final story and then open it up for any final thoughts. So I was doing an instructional walkthrough at Farmington High School with a group of cabinet central office administrators and the principal, Mr. Shelton there, and Miss Musner, our assistant principal, Mr. Porterfield, the assistant principal. And all of a sudden we heard this commotion, and we saw coming around the corner a gurney. We had a student on a gurney with all the other students rushing him to somewhere, and we immediately thought, "Oh my goodness, what's going on?" And is someone in distress? Is everyone okay? We didn't hear any sirens or anything, and it was your class. And so, Mrs. Patton, I don't know if you remember the name of the student who was on the gurney, but he had some kind of injury, and he was flailing about, and he was acting the part. But everyone else was calm, and they were wheeling him on the gurney, and then they stopped right in front of us, and we got a chuckle out of that. But we thought something was just awry.
And his dad thought something was wrong too when he sent pictures to his father. His father was like, "What is going on?" So I had to apologize. His father actually called him, and I said, "We're just practicing. It's okay. I promise you, everything is fine." But yes, that was Jacob. That was our comedian of the class.
Well, Jacob played the part, and then his fellow students were very calm and composed. You could tell they had everything under control, just like Stuti and Zach. So thank you so much for being on the spotlight this month. I'll ask each of you any final thoughts. If you had to share any advice or recommendation for someone who's considering this class, any final thoughts on the emergency medical technician class?
I would just say it's a really good class to take just to get the experience. And just one thing, like if you really want to pursue something in the medical field or specifically get the EMT licensure, it's really important to pay attention or do your part. Like Miss Patton does all her part, all the clinical skills, everything, but it's really important to go with the class, like look at the presentations, all the module, like the amount of times Miss Patton has held us during the module exams or like just before the module exams, calming us down. Like she does her part. So I think we got to do our part, and anyone can be really successful in this class. It's a really good class, and everyone should consider taking it.
Great. Thank you, Stuti.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, it's just a great opportunity. Not many kids get this opportunity to do it within high school, to be able to learn these skills. And for me, I already have jobs out of it. Mm-hmm. So I will be in August. I'm going to Western. So I already have jobs as an EMT lined up in Kalamazoo.
Is that right? Wow.
So it's great because you get to do it in high school. Not many high school classes gets you a job after you walk out the door. And you get all these life skills to help you along the way.
Fantastic.
Well, the kids need to take.
And even if they don't want the EMT licensure, they can still get high school credit for the class. It's not required to get, yes, I would love for everybody to take the class to get the licensure. That's just,
Sure.
looks really good as the instructor, but it's not required and it's not for everybody. So
And this is an elective course in the career technical education CTE field. So what's great is any student, it's available to any student in our high schools.
As long as they take medical skills first, that is the only prereq, because that gives them the foundation that they need for the EMT class, because it's so fast paced and it's a lot of, you have to read the book, you have to, review the stuff. Having the medical skills foundation allows us to focus more on the bulk of the EMT, of the actual, like, here's the guts of EMT. So, but once they take medical skills and they pass it with I think right now it's either a C or a B or better, they can take EMT and hopefully become licensed like these two will be.
Fantastic. Well, I think I just heard your bell, so it sounds like you might have to get back to class. But thank you for being the June Farmington Public Schools Spotlight, our emergency medical technician class. Thank you to Teacher Mrs. Patton, as well as our students, Stuti and Zach. Best of luck on your final exam, your assessment for the licensing, and then congratulations. And I will see you Sunday at graduation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.